Good evening, it's 7 o'clock. Monday at 7, to follow March 22nd, 2023 ZBA meeting to order. First this evening, Bill Buncer, alternate member, Lloyd Corbett, vice chairman, Tom Manning, secretary, Doug Smith, our newest regular member, and Scott Rosato. Also is Thomas Henry, the planner and the CEO for the town of Groton. We have one application for us this evening at the proper time. So Manning will check the mailings, make sure they're in order. At that point, applicants will come right up, make yourself comfortable, tell us what it is you want. And listen, all the exhibits you have. Anytime anybody speaks, please identify yourself, name and address. If you speak subsequently, just re-identify yourself by name. We are being recorded. At the conclusion of the applicant's presentation, board members will probably have questions. At that point, we will determine if there's any comments in the file, either for or opposed, or if anybody's here to speak, either for or opposed. At that point, the applicants may have any final comments to make. Once the public hearing closes, you're welcome to remain here, listen to our discussion and deliberation. But at that point in time, we cannot accept any additional testimony. So public hearing portion is the only portion to speak. Cell phone, if you have one, if you just turn it on silent, vibrate, we appreciate it. Attempts to make our decisions to say anything, only time we usually would not, would be if there's some issue that should be referred to the town attorney. Okay, with that, I guess we're set to proceed. We have our voting members and they're all set. Tom?
Start. ZBA 23-01, 3 Apple Tree Lane and 53 Essex Street. Donald and Susan Phillips. Owners, Greg Fettis, applicant, for a variance to section 3.2-2A to reduce the front yard setback from 25 feet to 22.3 feet on Cove Lane for a house addition, from 25 feet to 15.4 feet at Apple Tree Lane, and from 25 feet to 16 feet at Essex Street for a new garage. 2 lots merged to 1 lot with 1 single family residence. Any number 261809 263528 and 261809 264535 RS12 zone. For the record, the mailings have been reviewed and they've been found to ready to proceed because everything is accurate and ready to go. Set.
Let's first.
Excuse me. Good evening. My name is Greg Fettis with Fettis Engineering with an office at 70 Essex Street in Mystic, Connecticut. Just down on the other side of Essex Street at the Mystic Shipyard. Here representing the owners, Don and Susan Phillips, regarding their request for 3 front yards variances, excuse me. So the plan in front of you is we call it the merger plan because they're actually 2 separate properties. 3 original from the original subdivision. So there was actually 3 lots here originally. The Phillips originally bought the house at 3 Apple Tree, renovated it and kind of fixed it up. And then when the house at 53 Essex became available, they purchased that. Probably a little bit to protect their view and someone else could have built not a monstrosity, but they could have built something that might have blocked the view or took up, moved the move the building back and because some of their view corridors through here. So they were able to purchase it and they're planning on removing the existing single family home, merging the two lots together and then building an accessory garage with a what they're calling a hobby room above, which is going to be most likely a wood shop or shop on the second floor of the garage. So the other, and I'm going to get to the site plan in a second, but I kind of want to give you the overview. So it is a relatively unique property. It has frontage on Essex, Apple Tree, and Cove Lane, and actually it would have been 4 front yards because Ellery Lane used to be a paper street, but was deeded over to the properties to the south, 45 Essex, and I believe the property at 5 Cove Lane. So it's that's now a not a front yard. So there's 3 front yards, still a little bit unique. They're in the flood zone AE10. A little bit of the properties in the BE13 zone, which is a velocity zone, which requires you know, kind of a different foundation and so forth. So we stayed out of that with any work we're proposing. So that's kind of the existing conditions. So this is the proposed site plan. Again, this is the existing house. They're removing a small portion of it, and then they're going to raise that to meet the FEMA requirements. It's about, I want to say it's going from finished floor of 7.8 to a finished floor of 11.25. So about 3.5 feet. We are in an AE10 zone, so base flood +1 requires us to be at 11 at a minimum, and that's where we ended up a little over 11. They didn't want the house to look like it was sticking out of the ground.
That's the existing house.
The existing house. So the first step in the whole process is going to be to basically raise that, raise the foundation, set it back down, and then do the addition in the garage. So again, I'm going to attack the variances on the garage first. You can kind of see the existing house underneath the garage here. So we're actually, we were at 13.1 feet on Apple Tree, and we were 14.4 on Essex Street. We are increasing those to making the nonconformity less. So it's kind of bumped back. It's now parallel with the rest of the house. It kind of fits a little bit better. So the variance, so the hardship there is that we're making it less non-conforming. It's not bigger than the existing house. It's about the same size, at similar height, but well below on the height. So that's the existing garage. The existing house is still standing. We did have the asbestos shingles removed. So it looks a bit undesirable right now, but the first step would be to knock that down if we do get approval, and basically replace it in kind, making the nonconformities a little bit better. So that's and the driveway would now be coming in off of Apple Tree into the garage here, and this driveway that's located on Essex Street would be eliminated. The existing house, again, it's going to be raised. First step, new foundation underneath it, set back down, and then this addition is proposed, which basically is a family room, mudroom, utility room, elevator, and then a garage located on Cove Lane. And so we are asking for a variance for the front yard on Cove Lane. If you look closely, it's kind of this trapezoidal piece right here, which is 22.3 is at the closest point to the Cove Lane right away. Cove Lane, if anyone's familiar with it, is a very narrow right away. It's only 14 feet wide. The road takes up a good portion of that, 10, 11 feet. Similarly, Essex Street has a very similar right away. And I have a couple maps I just want to show you from early 1900s that kind of laid out this neighborhood, kind of made it very, I would say, a unique area. So we are looking for a variance here. You might ask, well, you have a lot of room. We couldn't kind of avoid this variance. And what the Phillips and their architect tried to do was, and it's tied a little bit to height. We wanted to not have this, we're way under on height. So we didn't want to kind of squish things together and make it taller, and was out of respect to the neighbors and so forth, which we do have. And I think Tom is either going to read them in or let you know who the neighbors that did write letters of support for the project. Everyone completely surrounding the property has, yes. And I'll just show you a map quickly also that shows you which neighbors they are. So I think, again, we're well, if you're raising the house per the flood zone, you're allowed to go kind of an extra 5 feet. So the height limit is 30 feet, but because we're in the flood zone, we're allowed to go another 5 feet. So again, we stayed way under. So that's part of the reason why we're kind of pushing the envelope over here on Cove Lane. So
How much is way under?
on height. So reading upside down here, but maximum building height, and there's a calculation on the second sheet, which I can go over, but it's 30 feet, but in a flood zone, it does change a little bit. And I'll just read that. So the house addition is at 2475. So it's 5 1/4 feet under the normal height, but we are allowed another 5 feet. So you're almost 10 feet under the allowable height. So we could put another story on, is kind of.
When you raise the existing house up now to 11 feet above mean high water, right?
It's
Whatever the measure
yes,
is, okay.
it's
When you
11
get that to
down,
11 feet,
yes.
you're probably 5, 6 feet off the ground, right?
So currently we are it's 7.8 now, the finished floor. The elevations around the house are in the 4.
So right now it's about 4 feet up because
Yes.
porch there.
A little bit less
Yeah.
than 4, yeah.
So you're going up to 7 and then you're only going up
So what we're,
17 feet higher to go to 24, or you go?
well, it's the way it's calculated, and I'll circle back around.
Okay,
The
all right.
diagram on page 2 here to talk about that in more detail.
But I just ask you, this is in the file showing the picture. Of the
Yes.
house, and that's the one I think that's
That's,
talking to.
yes.
What was the height looks higher. It's a 2-story house. And that whole house is going to be raised up another, what?
4 feet
4 feet.
or less than 4 feet, 3.5.
So I don't know what to do. See that. That's in the file.
Yep, and the elevations of the existing and proposed there, I think, are in the file also.
Can we dwell on that for a second? So the peak of that house will be at 35 feet?
No,
No,
the peak, let me I'll flip to this and come back
sure.
to. So we did kind of an extensive analysis of the building height and how it's calculated. So you do the average spot grades around the house. I'm just reading this upside down, so I'm just gonna grab my other copy. But I'll do the best I can. So it's the building height. Average grade, so mean elevation between so it's not the peak, it's the mean elevation
Mean,
between.
yep.
So that kind of brings it down a little bit, because it's kind of a steeper roof. So you're measuring the height to the midpoint of this big gable here. It's just how the regulations measure it. So the average grade along the front of the building is 5.6. So we take the elevation of the mean elevation between the top, the ridge and the E. And then we subtract the average grade and we get 30.16 feet. So I'm gonna have to turn this around to read it or get my other copy. Let me get my other copy here. It's the calculation is a little.
Would that be the highest point of the totally finished structure, that the peak of the existing house?
Yeah, so the peak of the existing house, and I'll also pull out the elevations. The addition only matches that peak in one spot. So the balance of it is
So essentially, that's the highest it
considerably
is
lower, yes.
throughout the whole, okay.
Yeah. The addition does not go higher. So I'm just going to read this because it's the easiest way to talk about it. In flood hazard areas as it designated in section 7.2-2, where the lowest floor of the building is elevated. So the lowest floor of the building is the 7.8. Is elevated to meet the requirements of section 7.2 flood protection regulations. The maximum total building height shall be measured from the base flood elevation +1. Provided that the resulting height of the building is not more than 5 feet greater than the maximum building height permitted in the applicable zone. So basically, they're saying,
Essentially, you're in what zoning requires you.
yes.
Yeah, okay, I just,
Yeah. And again, I can show you the elevations of the proposed versus the existing.
no, we got it, we
Yeah,
have,
okay.
yeah.
The building height minus the base flood elevation, we're only at a height of 24.75. Which again is considerably lower. Oops. Thank you. Again, so it's 2.7 feet at the kind of the wider part of the trapezoid, and it's probably about less than 1.5 feet on the other end. So it's just a small kind of piece along Cove Lane. So I'm going to show another exhibit that shows kind of the neighborhood and what's happening with other garages / houses that are less than 25. And then there's a couple of drawings that I have that show kind of the 1916 and the 1927 surveys that show the existing houses and how close they were to. So it's kind of in line with the neighborhood.
What is going to be the height of the garage?
So the height of the garage is even less. That's 15.75. Again, the Cove Lane right away is only 14 feet. It's more like, you know, 2 cars can't pass without kind of one pulling onto the grass or pulling into somebody's driveway. So it's more like a driveway per se. So I think another big thing is that we took, and that's why this zoning table is so large. We did the existing for 3 Apple Tree and the existing for 53 Essex Street. Both are non-conforming lots currently. So by combining them, we're making them one conforming lot that's only allowed one single family home. Which I think is a benefit to the neighbor and benefit to the neighborhood, plus the neighbors have showed their support with basically all the properties around it saying, yes, we've seen the plans and we support the Phillips. We are, I think, a couple other things, and I talked about the height already. We're well below on the height. We're also pretty, I want to say almost 7+% low on, or less than the coverage allowed. So we could build a bigger, you know, again, I don't want, like, we could build a bigger house. But, you know, we tried to be respectful of the height as well as the coverage and keep, you know, this existing, basically replacing it in kind, making it a little bit better, conforming wise regarding setbacks. Let me just go through the rest of the exhibits that I talked about already. So these 2 sheets are the site plan, which are in your package. So this is right. 1916, December 1916. So it doesn't really look like this anymore. This is School Street coming across the railroad tracks, heading towards the marina. This is Essex Street. So you would take a right on Essex Street. Their big building is here as you come down School Street. They say driveway here, and rumor has it that this may still be a private, this portion of Essex Street is still private and not a town road, but we're actually over here. Maple Street is here, and now this is Apple Tree, so that changed. This is not Willow Avenue anymore, but it's Essex. So you can see the, you know, they had Maxon Street was a reasonable right of way with Maple, this portion of Maple, this portion of Apple Tree, I believe are 30 feet. But you can see Essex Street is that 14 feet wide, and it continues through here. But anyway, you can see the existing houses at the time were pretty close to the right of way. You know, less than today's requirement. What's it gonna get submitted?
That's needs to be submitted for the record.
Do you want me to do it after?
We know, you can read it in and give it an exhibit. It's not included in, so it needs to be.
Okay, so want me to read it in now?
Sure.
All right, this is a site plan of the December 1916 property of the Holmes Motor Company and Immediate Environment, West Mystic, Connecticut. December 1916, and it's a 1-page that has been aptly described.
And I think the town clerk's map number is 80.
What's the map number?
I believe so.
86. Okay, for the record, then. So just.
Can I hand it to Tom?
Yeah.
No, you have the stamp, just stamp it in as a.
Here we're coming from, bud. All right, so this would be exhibit 1.
This is. Yes.
All right. One. See. Okay, for the record, I've marked this old site plan, if you could call it that, Exhibit 1, ZBA 2301. And it's initialed with myself, initials, and dated today, March 22nd, 23. All right.
Right, this is Greg Fettis again. So this map is actually from Apple Tree West. And shows it's a little bit of more like it is today, I guess, than the previous map, but so this is map 136, town clerk map 136, map of Willow Point, Westminster, Connecticut, June 1927. So this is our piece right here, which is actually original lots 25, 26, and 27. Apple Tree Lane, which on that map showed it as Maple Avenue, but they also call it formerly Locust Street. And then Cove Lane winds through here. And Ellery Lane is that paper street that I said was well, I think it was claimed by the properties to the west. So it's no longer a paper street, no longer a town road, not that it was ever a town road. So again, you can see the, you know, kind of all these houses here and proximity to front yards are all relatively close. But just wanted to kind of give you a background and the uniqueness of the neighborhood, Willow Point. Because you have these 14-foot, I would say, glorified driveways. They're not really streets as defined today. So that can be the next.
Okay, so we'll mark that exhibit number 2. I'll re-snap it just so-
Isn't Cove Lane still considered a paper street?
No,
No, well, a portion of it is, and a portion of it,
is that still gravel or is that paved?
portion of it is paved and a portion is gravel.
So coming from Apple Tree, it's paved probably a little bit.
Paved all the way, I think, to somewhere around here.
And then I ride my bike down there all the time. It turns into crushed stone kind of thing.
Yep.
It's like it disappears.
It,
You look like you're going through a guy's yard. as you
Yes.
go through this.
yeah,
Well, we had an application a while back. It was rather involved. And it's a building that's close, it's farther toward the tip. It's right where the cul-de-sac is. It's on the north side of it.
Yeah.
And
One
at
of-
that point, I'm almost sure that Cove Lane was, at least part of it was still a paper street.
Well, it's there, but doesn't look like it's there. Yeah.
So like,
I think there's also public access here.
and that was.
So that's
that was
probably
another-
why, yeah, that was a,
Okay. Tom, I think that marked it exhibit number 2. So is that marked Cove Lane on that?
yes, it is.
It is. Okay.
Yes.
So but as of 1927, that was Cove Lane in the position that it shows on your plans. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
And so this is just the tax map. I brought it along because again, just to kind of reiterate the uniqueness of the point, Willow Point, and it's complicated and it doesn't perfectly accurately depict what's happening out here. Ellery Lane is, portion of it's still there, a portion of it is between our property and 45 Essex. And anyway, I wanted to just add that one also to the record.
Mark this exhibit 3. Okay,
I think this is the last exhibit. Just wanted to point out a few of the other kind of reductions in the 25-foot setback. So this is the two properties, three Apple Tree and 53 Essex, which they'll get merged after if we get approval. So across of Essex, it's about 20 feet to the house. 5 Cove Lane is about 20 feet to the right of way. I think 2 Cove Lane actually is just about at the 25-foot closest point. 1 Apple Tree is about 23.5. 109 Essex is about 18 feet to their garage. And I kind of just did the ones right around it. 8 Cove Lane is 10 feet only. And I didn't even write this number on there, but 33 Essex is closer than the 25 required. And also I just, I guess I can, there's letters that were in support.
I'll
So I-
probably read those into the
Okay,
record.
so basically it's just gonna do, I think it's. I kind of put them in order, but basically 109, 8, 4,
Let me
1.
look this first.
Okay.
And as I read the letters, you can point out.
Okay,
Exhibit. Each level. So this is number 4, I think. Correct.
Right. Yep.
Okay, so this is exhibit 4, and you're gonna. You want me to go into reading these now or something else?
well, I need to talk about the
Yeah.
coastal,
We gotta listen to it.
I need to talk about the coastal site plan, so I could do that after the
Okay,
variance.
that's fine. So, okay.
What was that?
They're on. We'll just.
Okay, so, you want me to do the coastal site plan now? Yes, okay, sorry. So. Just get back to.
Are you finished with that exhibit?
Well,
I
we're gonna,
Circle back around to it. So like every project within the coastal management area, we make sure that all down gradient work is surrounded by silt fence. This area is relative flat. It was steeper areas. We'd supplement with wood chips or hay bales, but in this case, I don't think it's necessary. So there is silt fence going around. We do have a construction entrance, which is the old driveway to the house. So that'll be, there's a anti-tracking pad detail, I believe, on sheet 2. We do have plenty of area to stockpile material. The driveways are proposed to be pervious. All the roof leaders are directed to rain gardens located at the perimeter of the property to control stormwater. I think that's probably about it. I think part of the coastal site plan also, we are taking the existing house and raising it 3.5 feet to make it in conformance with FEMA. We'll be adding flood vents to the existing house. The existing or the proposed garage will also conform to FEMA requirements, only storage and parking. Garage below base flood. That'll also have a flood vent.
Did you actually have a camera record up on the purple
We have a CAM application, yes, that we submitted.
application, but usually we get a cam report. In writing stating what you just said. It's been addressed, that's been addressed, this has been addressed.
I think everything's been the CAM application. We have all of what I just said in the CAM application. We typically don't do a report. I can start doing them, but last one I did on Maple Avenue, which was right around the corner, we didn't supply a separate report, but I'd be happy to do that in the future.
I think we should.
Okay,
I'd love to give it for it in, all the time in writing.
okay.
May not be able to take action tonight, but one.
Okay, well, I respectfully, the information is all in the CAM application. And I'm reiterating it verbally, but I can start doing CAM reports in the future.
Report would just be a different format
Yeah.
for the application.
Yes,
All the applications is what it should be doing.
Right, what I'm saying, the report, there wouldn't be any additional information or anything different in the report than there is in the application.
I had a cam,
Oops, we're gonna put that into the,
that's already in the record, what I just had on there. This one we're gonna talk about with the letters.
I don't think did I stamp that?
Yeah.
It's already in.
Over in the corner, you have. Oh, this one.
No, this one.
That's already in the. Yeah, that's included in the packet.
This one's already in the
It's
package.
right there. That's this one here.
Okay, so,
I don't think you need to stamp it.
okay.
No, it's in the packet.
It's in the packet, all right. Get carried away.
This is. Sorry, if it wasn't in your packet, but he did include the report.
of the real report.
Yes. Written report.
Wasn't in our pack.
Yeah, I apologize for that. It's, but it is here if you want to,
All right, so
which it reiterates everything that Greg just said.
here's the summaries of the plan.
Yeah, that's it. It's in there.
Okay.
Okay, let's see.
So that's finish your presentation.
What's that?
That's finish your presentation.
Yeah, with the exception of the letters, you can read in if I have any comments regarding that.
Let's go to that.
You were, I think you were gonna mark person whose letter that I read into the record. Mark this.
I could do that. Sure.
Does that make sense, or?
Can I ask a couple of questions before we move on to that?
Okay. Do your clients have anything to add to you?
They were gonna speak when I was done. Yes. Okay. You want to do it now or, okay?
Go on. So we can ask you a pretty question.
No, do you want to speak? Just.
They can stay there. Okay. Yeah, my name is Don Phillips of 3 Apple Tree Lane Mystic. It's my wife Susan. Greg spelled it out quite well. You know, the 3 front yards makes it a little difficult for us trying to preserve as much yard as possible. We're doing the addition. And Cove Lane is, to us, is more of a shared driveway. There's not even any mailboxes on it. You know, the mailboxes are up on the main road. So we were hoping that the board would see that we could maybe treat that as more of a side yard. You know, Greg talks about the benefits of us, you know, tearing down the eyesore of a house and bringing our house up to flood standard. Making one conforming property by taking 2 non-conforming properties and merging them. I think that's pretty much what I had. I mean, I have copies of the letters, but you have those as well. That's really all I have to add at this point anyway, unless there's any questions.
All right, questions?
Couple questions. Cove Lane first. That's an awful big yard there that you're taking up, and then you want another 2.5 to 3 feet for a variance in that Cove Lane area. So what's the hardship in not having that extra 2 feet and 1 foot little sliver trapezoid?
Well, I think it was for the, kind of for the reasons that I stated. I feel the request is de minimis, given what's happening on Cove Lane and, preserving preserving the corner green. We're real close. And, trying to preserve or keep the height down, I think, for the neighborhood. I mean, my office is here at 70 Essex and I have windows on the third, well, I guess it's the third floor. So I look out at all the rooftops here. And, I think, it doesn't seem like much, but if we squeeze this in, it kind of changes the entire kind of floor plan and it kind of forces us to go a little bit higher. Is it,
When you're done, I'd like to add one thing.
Yeah.
Sorry.
and I look out and I see, most of the homes are pretty much, there's a couple of taller ones here and there, but pretty much they're all very similar heights. And I think it was important, and you'll see by the support of the neighbors that they're kind of on board with us keeping it at this level. And again, I think the uniqueness of Cove Lane only being a 14-foot right of way, if it was, I guess a wider right of way and it was two-way traffic, would it make a difference? I think so. And the neighborhood is 20, 23.5, 18, 20. So I think it's, we're not asking for a lot. I think it's just kind of the way it worked out, and we're just asking for a little relief there. Again, I think we're also taking a non-conforming lot and making it two non-conforming lots and making it one conforming lot, in which I think there is some relief that can be sought for that reason alone, separate of other hardships. And I think, the 3 front yards is unique, probably almost was 4 front yards. Would have. And we're not building a monster hall or maxing out coverage like others.
I understand.
So I think for all those reasons, but I think you can rely on the reducing the nonconformity as one way to say okay, or for the other 5 or so reasons that I gave. Some may or may not be actual legal hardships, but I think in the big picture, it's a reasonable ask, I guess.
So if I look on that map there, which is exhibit 4, okay? The house directly across this Apple Lane from the house you're gonna raise, okay? How far back is that set?
That one is set back pretty far, because that's 18, so that's set back 50, almost 50 feet.
Okay, and the one
This one is
further, I guess that's to the west, I guess.
similar.
That's set back similarly,
Yeah,
correct?
this one is 18 to their garage.
There's the one on the corner there that was raised in the last 5 years. That's set back very little, correct?
Well, yes, this one is very close. I didn't put the right of way on for Maple Avenue. This is actually Maple Avenue here.
Okay.
But that right of way, I think, is 40 feet. So you're less than 20 feet.
Okay,
Uh,
and then they built a house on the lot
yeah,
just to the south of that, correct?
that one's fully
Now
conforming.
presumably
I
that's
did
fully,
that, yes.
fully conforming,
Yeah,
correct?
I did that house for Thomas last year. That one is full.
And the one on the corner of Cove Lane and Apple Tree Lane, that's conforming, correct?
This is not actually, it's about similar, 23.5, and that's the rough estimate because it's taken an air bill, but it's less than 25.
Okay.
I didn't do this one, but Apple Tree Lane it's even closer to Apple Tree. Yeah, that's only like 10 feet from right away line on Apple Tree, so.
Um. Now going to Apple Tree Lane. The house that you're gonna raise, okay, that's non-conforming at the moment, correct?
Right.
And what's the setback that has now?
That setback is,
Because I can't read the numbers on this little thing.
Yeah. 21.7.
It's 21.7 to the porch, correct?
That is 21.7
To the building,
to the front of the house, to the house.
to the house, not the
Yeah,
porch.
not to the porch.
Okay. Okay, and the porch presumably was there, is part of the non-conformance, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And then if you go down to the next property that you're gonna tear down, that's currently what,
So that is current,
14, 15 feet or something like that?
well,
Maybe
to Apple Tree, it is currently 13.1 feet to the closest point.
Okay, because the apple tree kind of, yeah, yeah, okay.
Well, also, the Apple Tree right away is pushed. The road's not centered on the
Yeah,
right of way, so
It's kind of,
it's pushed towards our property.
okay,
So it makes it look worse than it is driving down Apple Tree Road. So we are making that to 15.4 feet versus 13.1, and on Essex Street, it's existing at 14.4, increasing it to 16.
all right. So if you tore down that house, okay, and you were starting to construction, you would have to conform to the 25-foot setbacks, correct?
Without getting this variance, yes,
Without, okay,
yes.
so the reason you need the variance is so it does, otherwise it has to go back to this dotted line that's in the middle of your structure that you
Right.
put there, right? Okay,
So we're basically just trying to preserve the nonconformity. That's why we left the house up, just so there was no questions that.
so what's the impediment to moving the garage into a conforming area? Because there's an awful lot of side yard.
Well, it'll be too close to the existing house and also block views out through this window here. That's just so separate of that. Those are the impediments for us just to conform. But we already have the nonconformity, so we don't feel like we would give that up.
Right, but you have the nonconformity with the existing structure.
Right,
You don't have it without the existing structure, correct?
right. But we have the existing structure, so.
So the impediment to moving the garage over to the south,
It would be the southwest.
southwest, is it would impede a view from this new addition to the house, correct?
And it would, kind of be too close to the existing house and existing addition.
Defining too close as what, 20 feet, 25 feet?
Yeah, 25 feet or so.
If it was moved, it would be 25
It
feet,
would be moved to be 25, yeah.
okay? And there's nothing now that would, on this plan, or if you moved it, it takes up that space in the middle between the proposed new addition and the proposed garage, correct? I mean, that's just gonna be yard,
That's gonna be, open. There'll be a deck on there probably.
Right.
At the end of the day, but
and the driveway goes away.
yes,
Right.
this driveway goes away.
Becomes
Driveway. And we're just trying to put a new structure where the old one was more conforming, both from FEMA setbacks. We're not increasing the coverage, you know, it's about the same size. So again, I think it's a allowable legal hardship, I guess, existing nonconformity. Not sure exactly of the legal, I'm not an attorney, but
And the total, what's the total square footage of the, of the proposed new house?
I think so the addition is 2,145 square feet.
On 1/4, so you're adding 4,200.
No,
200 square
the
feet?
second floor isn't full. If you know that. Don knows that.
Yeah, the entire addition is under 2,500. It's hard to calculate exactly because of the dormers and the nooks and crannies and all, but it's around 2,400 for the area over the garage. We're also making it to a bedroom. While I'm talking about that, we originally wanted to put a bedroom on the first floor because we're not getting any younger. And so this is part of the plan, but that pushed it even closer to code. And so then we said, all right, let's see if we can get further away by putting an elevator in. And that's why we got to the point we're at now. And we measured from code where the street is, and we're at 25, but where the setback line is, that's where we come to the 22.3.
So total square footage of the finished house would be 2,500 new plus,
Plus the.
what's the old one?
I think. Yeah,
So 4,400 square feet,
yeah.
give or take. Plus the upstairs and the new unattached garage. Yeah. Yeah, whatever, you know, but that's, okay.
Yeah, I think I was just giving you the footprint.
Yes. No, I'm just, you know, I'm trying to get, it's hard on this scale to visualize.
Yep.
What we have.
So. There's 3 apple trees, stuff like that. Right? One is gonna be a large.
Yes.
That's being,
Yeah.
that's being raised and added to, yeah.
That has 1949 square feet,
Existing right now.
just
1,949 square feet. for
1949.
Living space.
Total living area,
Yeah, what'd you say?
1,949 square
So
feet.
plus 2,500. It's 4,000.
4,400 square feet, yeah, okay. Yeah, all right. Okay, that's all the questions. Thank you.
Okay, yep.
Got
No, I'm.
Bill. I have the same question for you, that Doug has about the garage. Seems like there's a lot of space there to make that. Cool. And you say, well, throw in the back of it and walk out of view. I'm not sure if that's a hardship.
Well, I don't think that's the hardship either. That's the reality of why we don't want to just conform with the new structure. We think we're entitled to the setbacks that are currently there because the existing house is already there and we're making it a little bit better.
But once you take that house down, all cars are off the table.
No, that's
Well-
not correct, exactly. Again, this isn't legal advice, but a non-conformity can stay with the land, it's just so they don't abandon it. So a house could be torn down and rebuilt in its same footprint, even if it's in violation of setbacks. Bill Sweeney came in here a few years ago to describe a similar project. It was a garage. It was demolished to the foundation and not rebuilt for years. And he was able to rebuild it, a garage, without any variances or whatnot. This, I don't know what it,
The rule, if they're new owners, then.
the ownership doesn't matter. It's the
It doesn't.
intent, it's the intent to abandon a use. This, I don't know, it would be different. It's a house that's getting demolished for a garage, but I think based on the statutes or the law that was passed, it's less of an impact than otherwise because, you know, a new house could presumably be built in that same location.
All right, anybody here to speak in favor or opposed? No, yeah,
Read the letters.
letters.
Okay, this might take. February 8th, 2023. Town of Groton, dear zoning board of appeals members. My name is Grace Cleary, and I live at 1 Apple Tree Lane, Mystic. My house is located on the corner of Apple Tree Lane and Cove Lane, directly across from Don and Sue Phillips' property. The Phillipses have asked me to look over their plans for addition and separate garage on their property. After reviewing the prints, I believe that the project is in keeping with the neighborhood. I am in favor of approving this project and granting the variances. Sincerely, Grace Cleary, and we'll mark this exhibit. What's that? That's the last one. Is that?
That's 4.
4, so this will be exhibit number 5. So the next letter is February 14th, 2023. Town of Groton Zoning Board of Appeals, 45 Road, Connecticut, regarding Sue and Don Phillips home construction. To whom it may concern, we have a home on Essex Street, which is across from the property of Sue and Don Phillips. We recently had the opportunity to review Sue and Don's addition and outbuilding plans. We have no issues with the variances they are requesting and hope that you will grant them. We know that the work they have been doing will greatly benefit the neighborhood. The improvements they made to their home when they first purchased it years ago really enhanced the home and property. We know that the work they intend to do with this new plan will further greatly enhance their property as well as the neighborhood. With warmest thanks, Paul and Sarah Blanchett. So this will be marked.
They're the
Number
large
6.
brick house,
It's a brick house.
big brick house.
Who's that? Just,
That's this one here. It's off, most of it's off the map.
The next letter is February 16th, 2023, Groton Zoning Board, to whom it may concern. I am a neighbor of Don and Sue Phillips. My name is Elizabeth Wilson and I live at 2 Cove Lane, Mystic, Connecticut. I believe that Don and Sue Phillips should be allowed the variances they are seeking. Their plan looks very nice and I approve of them. Regards, Elizabeth Wilson. So this will be paragraph 7. Okay, next is February 6th, 2023, to whom it may concern. We are writing this letter to advise you of our support for the variance requested by Don and Sue Phillips at 3 Apple Tree Lane, Mystic. We are the owners of 2 abutting properties, 5 Cove Lane and 56 Essex Street. We owned 5 Cove Lane when the Phillipses purchased 3 Apple Tree Lane. The renovation project they did was very professional and the results were exemplary. There is no doubt in our mind that the current proposed project will improve the neighborhood and quite possibly increase neighboring property values. If you should have any questions, feel free to contact us. John and Trudy Racconin, Munson, Mass, 5 Cove Lane, Mystic, and 55 Essex Street, Mystic. So this will be sure. 8, excuse me.
So they own two properties there, is that right?
Yeah, they own 56 and
Okay,
5 Cove Lane, 56 Essex.
Okay. The next letter is to whom it may concern. Charlie and I live at 45 Essex Street on Willow Point in West Mystic. We have been neighbors of Don and Susan Phillips for many years and have watched how they have restored their home on Apple Tree Lane with care and meticulousness. They have done a beautiful job cleaning up their property, and we have no doubt that they will do the same with the proposal to expand their home and build garages on the property. We have seen the design and have no problem with it. Please grant them the variances that they need to go forward. Sincerely, Eleanor Wonderath. Let's see, that's 8. This will be number 9. Okay, the next letter is dated the 8th of February, 2023. To whom it may concern, Don and Sue Phillips live across the street from us at 3 Apple Tree Lane on Willow Point in West Mystic. Recently met with them and reviewed their house and garage plans. We have no concerns whatsoever for their plans and would like to see the variances that they have requested be approved. Respectfully, Katie Corpy and Duncan Denny. This will be number 10. And I think this is the last of the packet of neighbors, I think. March 21st, 2023. Town of Groton Zoning Board of Appeals, Office of Planning and Development, Town Hall, Groton. To whom it may concern, my name is Stanley Micus. I reside at 8 Apple Tree Lane, Mystic, Connecticut, live directly across the street from my neighbors, Don and Susan Phillips at 3 Apple Tree Lane. Don and Susan have been kind enough to share their amazing plans for the future of their home in our neighborhood. My family and I fully support their plans and support the variance they are seeking to complete their project. We look forward to seeing the outcome of their home renovation project, as we believe the entire neighborhood will benefit from it. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me, Stanley Makis. This is going to be number 11.
which one is 11 there?
The last one is 8
That one there, okay.
Apple Tree Micus.
And next door to it is that 3 Apple Tree or?
This, no, 3 Apple Tree is us.
Oh, okay,
109 Essex is Corpy and Denny. They live on the corner of Apple Tree.
all right, did you get a letter from them?
Yep.
Yeah, okay,
And
all right.
4 Apple Tree.
Anything else about,
Have I missed anything?
any final comment?
I just, when you were talking, I was just thinking about the project. When they first came to me, they're like, well, we were looking around for another place. You know, and they, Don or Susan could speak better than I can about this, but they were, I know they said they were looking around for somewhere else that was gonna meet all their needs. And they ended up here and ended up with this application and this, this is where they want to, I guess, retire to and move to year round and, it's a great spot and anyway, I don't know if they want to say anything else.
We love it at Willow Point. We've been there for about years, under 12 years.
12 years.
Almost 12 years.
And we have a large family.
Yeah, we have 4 kids, 6 grandkids. We live in New Hartford, Connecticut right now. And it's about an hour and a half from Mystic and we come down every chance we can. And we recently retired and like to live in Mystic year round and sell our other home. So that's the reason for doing this.
Any final questions from the board? Margaret?
Just as what I perceive out of this is you're saying you're reducing the nonconformity, but I only see reduction in nonconformity of maybe 1.5 feet or so on Essex Street and maybe 1 foot or so on Apple Tree Lane for the garage, correct?
So it's 2.3 feet on Apple Tree Lane and 1.6 feet on Essex Street
Okay,
at the worst.
right, okay.
It does get, pulls away on Essex Street. And I think we're parallel to the right of way line pretty much on Apple Tree. So it's consistently 15.4.
Okay, and there's no other variance you want along Apple Tree Lane for the existing structure because it's there and it's,
Right. It's just raising it to meet the FEMA.
and then you want to intrude into the setback on Cove Lane 2 or 3 feet in that for that
A
section.
little trap.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And then the hardship is, or rationale for this is you're combining 2 non-conforming lots. And we maybe have a little bit less non-conformance in the whole overall picture. Is that,
Well, I think the 2 lots that are, one's 8,000 square feet, one's almost 11,000, 12,000 requirement. So I think that's a pretty good reduction in nonconformities. You're getting rid of 2 nonconformities and now you have 1 conforming lot. The reductions, yes, they're slight. On the garage on Essex and Apple Tree, but they're better. And I think at least what I understood Tom Zanarini to say is that we could just build it to the existing setbacks. Granted, might not be the perfect shape for us, but that's why I think it's a balance of making it a little bit better. We're not doubling the size of it, basically keeping it the same size. And then I think, it's a little bit of neighborly, like doing the right thing by not increasing the height and not building. I mean, it seems big, but we could build much bigger. So I don't know.
okay, I understand.
I think it's
I would also note at this time that alternate Bruce McDermott has joined us by Zoom. I think we both close the public hearing. Do you have any question?
No, I don't really have any questions. You guys have been pretty thorough. I'm a bit familiar with the house since I only live a couple 100 yards away, so I have a good understanding of what they're trying to do. But no other questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce. Okay.
There's one attendee. Rudy, you can ask her if she has anything. Is this a neighbor? Rudy, do you have anything to add? No response.
No. None for me.
You're muted, no?
I asked her to unmute and she hasn't.
They shoot, I guess they own 5 and 56.
Oh, okay, those,
They
we
wrote the
already had
letter.
the letter.
Yeah.
We have the letter and that was exhibit 8.
Okay.
Got it?
Do we have no more comments? Right. I'll public hearing to close it, that you can. Okay, thank you.
Want to leave this up or do you want me to give it to?
Well,
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can
leave it there for a minute.
or if you want to leave it there to yourself.
do this on that. All right. Questions, Scott?
Well, I specifically support what the applicant is looking for and how they intend to approach it and also get it accomplished. And I don't see any reason that we shouldn't grant that variance. For the one variance.
Doug?
I'm a little ambivalent about hardship here. Especially going into the Cove Lane. 25-foot setback. From the house going, that's a considerable lot that's next door to the existing house. And whether it needs to go all the way back and into the setback off of Cove Lane, I don't see a hardship in the granting of a variance in that situation.
Tom?
I'm looking at the regulations and lot size, if I'm reading it correctly, is supposed to be a square footage of 12,000 square feet.
RS12 is 12,000.
RS 12. So we're taking 2 lots that are definitely non-conforming, bringing it into conformity with the square footage. I think that trumps a heck of a lot. So I'm not troubled at all with a couple of feet here or there relative to what is, I think that's trumping everything I can see. So I have no trouble at all with granting approval of this.
What?
I don't have any problem with it.
It's an alternate, since Mr. Venture is not participating. Okay, well, somebody care to make a motion then?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the variances as proposed.
Second, Mr. Kravitz. Made by Mr. Rosario. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right.
Aye.
Negative.
You're not voting, but thanks anyway. So we have 4 in favor and 1 opposed, Mr. Smith.
Yep.
Variance is granted because it's 4. affirmative.
Just for the, may I have again, who made those? It was- Second by. Lloyd. Okay. Thank you very much.
Hear that?
Good luck.
All right, moving along, what we have here now? Correspondence? Just the town administrator's letter.
Yes.
Which speaks for itself. It's probably you know the British part 1 eventually gonna be reconstructed. If you know any questions, contact the Director of Public Works. You have anything to add to that, Tom?
Done about 15 years ago.
I know, it's been.
Do it again.
To what?
Causeway into Groton Long Point was rebuilt.
1835 bridge.
They raised it. My boat was in there for 25 years. They did something to raise it. Yeah. So maybe it was a half rebuild or something.
Maybe, but yeah.
Okay, so now we're gonna raise it.
legislation. The
Okay,
tunnel.
the next thing will be the approval of the, believe it or not, September 28th, 2032 minutes.
I move that we approve the minutes from September 28th, 2022.
Do I second that? Second for. I,
Aye.
one piece of business that we did not do when the motion was made to approve occurrences was a motion to approve the CAM application because it's consistent with local coastal policies and includes all reasonable measures to mitigate adverse impacts.
Second.
Okay, make that me, myself, and second by Mr. Smith. In discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, 5. One votes, passes. Let's see, whole business. Any other old business, Tom?
There is no old business.
No.
No old business.
Certainly old and yeah. New business,
Elected,
Election of officers.
looks like it snowed in here, everybody's.
Me.
How'd that happen? Not overnight.
Election of officers? That's the new business. So,
we should
any
make a motion.
nominations?
I didn't make a motion. What do you make a motion on?
Or do you want to make a motion on?
Other nominees.
On the,
So
Officers,
first
officers.
would be chairman?
I don't want to do it because I'm on there.
You what?
I'm one of the officers. I'm on it.
Yeah. Could still make a
Well, I
motion.
can I make a motion to accept them as they are.
Second. Carlos Saddle, second, made by Mr. Kravitz. Any further nominations? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 5 in favor, none opposed. New apps?
There are new applications and, sorry, I don't think I have a list of them, but, there will be meetings for, both, days in April. There will be meetings.
So we have to earn those checks that were sent out.
Finally, no more freebies for you guys.
Okay. Uh,
I do remember, we had a meeting down in, at the old school down.
Yeah.
And some woman yelled at me and said, I don't know what they're paying you, but whatever it is, it's too much. I said, you're absolutely correct.
Zero. That's zero. Zero.
Staff report.
I have no staff report. The next meeting is going to be in room 3, small one there. There's a conflict. There's a bigger meeting that outranks you guys that's going to be in here on that day. So,
On the next,
yeah, the next day, it's just one application for a residential house, 1155 River Road. So
so it won't be a big crowd.
it should not be big.
What's the date?
And this
The
Federation
12th.
newsletter,
April 12th.
April 12th.
Federation newsletter,
Yeah, that's for you to take home and read. The Federation newsletter just updates.
Did we get it?
Yeah, it's in the back.
It's in the
It's
back.
attached to the back.
oh, okay. Oh, all right. Okay, any other business?
Just,
Doug?
I sat in on the Connecticut Bar Association thing they did last Saturday all day. I don't know if anybody else went through with that.
What do you think
It
of that?
was
Pretty good, yeah. They had some good speakers. And the best part was they gave you the updated report of the Connecticut Bar Association land use law thing. You know, you were, years ago, you went up to Middletown.
Yeah, but there was a class online, a
Yeah.
3-point class by UConn. I think Bruce Sherman attended,
I did, yeah. It was very good, actually.
which covers,
The Yukon one or the, I went to.
Yeah, I did the
went
Yukon.
to The Bar Association, okay.
Yeah, no, I did the Yukon
I
one.
was-
It was
on
three events. They were pretty good.
So
and that, so if you went to that. it has
should
to
be my, it should be good for my 4 hour.
Right. So.
Continuing ed, because everybody has to get 4 hours
Yeah.
this year somehow.
Yeah,
Ten, at the end of the
Even
year.
the sitting members.
I imagine
Yeah.
there'll be additional.
Whenever
seminars.
you get a confirmation of your attendance, whatever that may be, just make sure.
I gave it to Deb, so she
Yeah.
said, yeah.
You have your
So
email?
Bruce should let
Yeah.
him know.
you were in on that.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Yes.
I did. It was well in excess of 4 hours and I notified Deb that I was there for all 3 events.
I'll forward my.
So you get a hold of Debbie and make sure that she knows, right? The
Not
woman who,
to my knowledge, but.
Yeah, well, I did it on the, I think I got an hour and a half.
I did too.
And then
Yeah,
I
he-
get back in.
um, Bruce should too.
Bump you out. Okay. Motion to adjourn?
Okay, before we go, let me just see if this is sufficient. Motion to grant the variance as requested. Result in action approved. Hardship shown. I want to get a little bit more info. Hardship shown, bringing the nonconformity of 2 lots into conformity with 1 lot. Do you want to say anything else about your concerns or?
I keep it brief.
The result in action. Is the reason why, we're only addressing the reason why it was approved, not.
Right.
Somebody's views on what wasn't.
Yeah, I realize that. I mean, is that sufficient? That, I just said bringing the nonconformity of 2 lots to conformity.
Section 8.
You don't have to quote the section. That's
Just,
sufficient.
okay. So we'll just, who's gonna sign?
Okay. You need to talk it down, huh?
I gotta get retrained first.
No. Very good.
These are the markings that I had. You want to keep a copy of this?
Just keep it in the file.
Keep it in your, this file.
Yeah.
Come on, you went to that training.
Anything else we should?
They talked about that. They actually said, one of the things I picked up on, they didn't even want an alternate doing questioning
Make
because
sure I have
one
those.
person could like maybe influence the rest.
I would. So registers letters.
They're in here. They're right there.
Sure.
I would think you would have come in.
They kicked me out.
Is,
Not good enough.
Well, that I knew.
it's already getting a motion to adjourn.
I will make that motion.
Second by,
Before we adjourn, I've got this thing here.
Who seconded?
Um,
Who seconded the motion?
only you guys, Floyd.
Uh,
Okay, all in favor of Sherman?
Before we do, hold it, I gotta just ask. This here, are you just looking for, this is the 133 Midway Oval, 9/28/22. I see this. Please have Stebbins, Manning, McDermott, which we can't, Menser, Smith, sign.
Yeah, this is the last,
I remember that, one, yeah.
yeah, and this wasn't included in the file, so.
So what do I have to say?
Approved as presented.
What was done at that meeting?
Yeah.
Right.
Correct.
So we can adjourn, right?
You can adjourn this. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, so it was 5 in favor or opposed.
Okay, so we're adjourned, okay.
Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you. Good to see you guys. I'll see you in about a month.
Okay. So you
All right.
What's
Thanks.
up with the crocodiles?
Bye-bye.
So Ed, I'll be out of town next,
You mean
12.
alligators?